So, welcome back to part 2. Really, before putting your ESCs on your power distribution board, you should put your bullet connectors on. Now, the reason I didn't do this is because I'm waiting for some more bullet connectors to come in the post because I've only got 3. But I'm just going to do it, just going to show you now how to do it. So, basically, you've got your little bullet connector with a hole in the side. I like to put the soldering iron in that hole, and what you can do is you can push the solder from the inside through that hole and melt it, and once the part gets hot enough you can start filling up the bullet connector with solder, and then you just get your ESC wire and just dip it in, make sure it all gets nice and hot, and just wait for it to go hard. Now the thing I really like about these Sunnysky motors is they've got a really heavy duty male bullet connector on them. So some people say that you should direct connect to your SC, but I don't want to do that because these are such good quality that it'd be pointless just wasting them. So that's one done. So obviously go around all the way around, do the same again. I'm not going to do that at the moment, I'll do that later when we get on to the next stage with you now. So the next stage for me is to take, just have a look at this. So this is my first drone build, as I like to say, which was a fully custom tricopter. Well, I've got the plans off the internet, but actually made the parts myself, and then made a little bit down here. I made this myself at work, and basically battery slides in here, sits on the shelf. Battery slides in here, sits on the shelf, and then you've got your GoPro mount up front, obviously. No stabilisation or anything, so I thought it was good to fly, but you know, just doesn't look terribly excellent and professional, does it? I mean, ESC's taped onto the bottom, really long ESC wires, as you can see there, and obviously the tail motor mechanism. I made that a bit floppy, as you can see. That's got quite a bit of play there, so it wasn't that stable, so I decided to go for a bit of a better machine, spend a bit more money. But this is going to be the donor for the APM basically. So I've got the APM with 2.7 with GPS, got a capacitor on the side here. This basically stores a bit of charge to prevent the flight controller from browning out, and then we've got an FrSky 8-channel receiver there, which is connected up individual PWM outputs. I want to try do CPPM on the quad build, so I only need one wire, which will make the system look a lot slicker. So I'm just going to take this off. So I'll start with disconnecting all my motor output wires. What I'm thinking of doing is putting a nice acro board on this after, and see what it flies like with one of them. I've pretty much ran this with stock settings. I did an auto tune with the camera on board, and I found that once you change to no camera, all the old settings with the camera have totally changed. So what I want to do with this one is I want to make some kind of counterweight that's the same weight as a GoPro, so when you're not flying with the GoPro you don't have to change any of your gains. But it also would be nice if there was something on Mission Planner where you could just select between 2 different gain sets. I think that'd be quite cool. So just on your gains page, you could select from a drop down menu, say camera or no camera, instead of doing a full rewrite of all the parameters from your backups on your laptop. I think that might be a good idea. So all the data could be stored in the PC, so therefore you don't actually need any more space on the APM, because I know these are pretty much maxed out now on the memory usage. So I just think it'd be a good idea, but we'll see if anyone ever develops it. So I'm just going to disconnect all this stuff. As you can see, it was raised off the board a bit. Now my power module's in the way there for the capacitor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that off. That's just double sided onto there. Have a look where this is going to go. Looks okay. That's just going to sit somewhere around there. Power module beside it. I'm going to move the receiver onto the top at the back here and actually make something to give these 2 antennas diversity. I might make something either on the CNC mill or 3D printer that I've got, but them videos are for another day. So I'm just going to get some sticky pads. I'm going to fit this on where it should go. So we're back again. I found the sticky pads in the labyrinth. So we're just going to take these and we're going to stick them on the bottom first. I was just checking the position of the USB there just so that it wasn't going to, I thought the power module would be obstructing the USB, but luckily the USB is just here, so we're okay with that. So I'm going to take this 3M tape that came with the APM. I cut them in half so that I saved 2 pieces. So this is it for the 3M tape. Now it's all used up, but you can actually buy this on Rctimer website if you ever order from there. We've got quite a bit of gear from them. I think they're pretty decent. I mean, I think like everything, it's dictated by how much money you've got to spend. As it goes for me, I've got quite a few hobbies, so you need to spread the money around. So basically you've got to look on your RG Pilot board, and basically you've got a forward facing arrow here, so you need that to face to the front of your quad. So I'm just going to check. Yep, so the height, I've just put the arm on there just to check that we're below the height, so we haven't got anything sticking up above there. So that looks pretty good. I think we might just move that receiver down a slight bit, because that was just touching the leg here at the back corner. So obviously if you've got something touching like that, you'll get vibration through that you don't want, so it's better just to make it stay clear. So that's looking quite good now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to whip these off. I'm just going to pull it in nice and close, eyeball it into position, stick it down. So that's there. I've left all my connections in, so then that bit I don't need to reconfigure again. So I don't need to mess about. So when connecting up your receiver, I see people use like 8 wires for this, and I just don't understand why they do that. So what I've done, basically I've put one wire for the plus, the minus and the signal here, and then all I've done is turned 2 more wires on the side, same on the receiver end, and then you can have 7 connections using 3 wires instead of using 7 separate wires. I just don't know why people do it that way, but it just seems strange to me. Why not do the same with less? Saves weight. Happy days. So next, I think we're going to go to put in a bit of rubber across here where your battery sits, because basically when you put your battery on here, it's very easy to slide backwards and forwards. So if you get a bit of some kind of rubber gasket and put it between where the straps are going to go, you'll actually get a bit more cooling and it won't slide and possibly smash your flight controller when you crash. So I'm just going to go look for some rubber gasket that I've got hanging around somewhere. It's this stuff that I use on my table. It's covering my table, it's quite good stuff. So I'm going to look for some of that, double side it straight onto there, actually cover up them 2 power points so if any water gets in or anything we don't short out the battery. So give me 2 ticks and I'll be right back. I've located my black piece of rubber. What I'm going to do is I'm going to double side it onto here. Basically now you've got the gaps underneath. When that all comes off, you'll actually be sticking grass and all sorts to the bottom of the plane here. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put this underneath, just try trim out a bit of that sticky area there, and that'll just prevent most of the grass and rubbish getting stuck in. So hopefully that'll just press out now, as long as it gets most of it off. Just be a nicer finished product. And now just peel off all the remaining tape. Got your black piece of rubber, just stick it in stick it in there. You obviously don't have to do this if you don't want to, but the actual grip on there now is a lot better, even without a battery strap. So I'm just going to do the other one now. There you go, splendid. Get a bit of tape here, bit of electrical tape. I've only got brown at the moment. So basically just take a bit of that, just cover up them two battery connections there. That's looking good. So I think the next thing to do is to connect up all the ESCs. So it looks like once everything's going to be long enough. So just have a look there. So obviously the front right motor ESC wire is long enough, because these are actually going to be a bit tighter on the arms, going to be folded up a bit. So I think what we'll do is we'll attach all the arms. Let's just have a little bit of tidy up. So back again. I'm going to start attaching the arms now. So what you've got is you've got a small 2.5mm cap head bolt to attach the arms, but as you find with cheap Chinese copies such as this, the actual bolt is slightly too long. It bottoms out on some of the holes. If you look here, these two holes are okay because you can go straight through, but these holes here, these two, the screw will actually bottom out before it's actually clamped the plate. Now, I found this out on an earlier build that I did. I've actually made one of these for my friend before, but his uses a different controller. So what I did is I went on eBay and I just purchased 50 little brass washers. Now this actually makes the system a bit better, because it'll actually spread the load of the actual bolt over a bit of a bigger area. So I think it's quite good actually. I mean, they're only about £2 for 50, so if you ask me, it was worth it. And also because it's brass, it matches the goldy colour of the quad. So what we're going to do is we're just going to wire these up. So obviously you need to put all your wires through, and then what you can do is put another leg in the opposite corner just to lift it all up to the same level to help you out. It's better to have a nice straight Allen key, saves you messing about with a bent version. And all I do is basically put them in loose, don't nip them up yet. Again, when I was doing my friends, I actually put the motors on the arms first of all. Now, of course you can do that if you want yourself, but obviously when you're doing this bit, everything will be balancing precariously on top of each motor, and while you haven't got all the screws in, all the screws on the top where you get 4 mounting points, it's actually quite heavy and you could possibly break the power distribution board, and obviously if you break that, you've got a lot of work to do to change it, which I think is the thing about these quads. It's alright having it all nicely ready made, but with my tricopter, if I crashed, I could have it running, up and running again within the hour, whereas with this you're going to be waiting for parts at some point unless you carry a lot of spares. So there you go, starting to take shape now. I think we're going to have to put some, well, we're definitely going to have to put some tape around this power module because it will end up touching something somewhere. So I haven't got any black tape, which I'm not too happy about, but we'll put it on. We'll put it in brown. We'll do it in brown for now. So it's a bit flexible, so you might want to just put the actual quad frame and something, just so that you're not bending the joints here and here. So I'm just going to have a look on the internet and see what motor gets plugged into where on the APM, and I'll be right back. So front left goes to number 3. So basically with these, the most inner pin is the signal, so therefore that's a white on this ESC. So the front right goes to, just going to put it under there, front right goes to 1. Rear left goes to 2. And rear right goes to 4. So they're all connected in, and basically what I've done just before we came on camera, I've disconnected J1 off the APM because I'm now using a power module. So basically if I want to run anything externally, I can use my 5V supply here and just connect it into here, and then that allows me to run a gimbal, a servo gimbal, but I think I'm going to go for a proper brushless gimbal on this setup when I get the time to do that. I've actually bought a Video RX and TX, just basically just the tiny board, and what I'll do is I'll put it in here somewhere. Basically all I want everything to be pretty much standard and stock, so from the outside it'll just look like this with the camera on the front. I don't want anything on the outside. If I can get away with even putting the GPS under here, I might even do that. I'm going to just do a test and see how it affects the GPS, this circuit board, because obviously that's copper in there, so that might block. some of the signal, so I want it to look as clean as possible, basically. So I think next up is to cover the power module up, neaten up some of these wires. Obviously I need to tie wrap the ESCs on, but I can't really do that until I've got all my bullet connectors. I've got my bullet connectors and they're all soldered up. Be a pretty bit of a waste of time. And also obviously shrink hose. So these are 3.5 bullet connectors, but the stupid thing is you can't actually get 4mm shrink hose anywhere in the UK, so I had to get this delivered all the way from Hong Kong because it was the only place I could find 4mm shrink hose, and when you were using, I think the standard we've got is 4.8, it was just far too sloppy on the bullet connector and it just didn't shrink around this wire very well at all. So what I did is I sent off, when I did my friends, we just did it in the bigger size, but then I decided to get some more. It was only a couple of quid for doing this job, just so that it fit a bit tighter. So what I'll do is I'll just shrink hose this one now. Basically just nice square cut with your scissors. Pop it over the end. What I do is basically I leave a bit sticking over the edge like that, as you can see. Shrink it. Wait for it to cool off. It goes hard again. Basically just cut the excess off. It's still a bit hot. Cut that excess off there. If you spin the bullet connector while you're cutting and pull it into the middle of the bullet connector, you actually get a nice clean edge there, so you don't get any gaps and it looks the business. I think that shrink hose is really good, and obviously you can see I'm struggling to get these bullet connectors apart because they're so tight. So I think that's it for part 2. I think when we come back I'll wait until I've got, before I record the next one, I'll wait until I've got my bullet connectors for all my motors. We'll be fitting the Sunnysky's on, obviously be fitting the prop adapters and Loctiting them on with a bit of blue Loctite. Blue's medium. You don't want to go for the red stuff because you'll never get these screws out again in the event of a crash. And also all these bottom plate screws that I've done here, they all want Loctiting on as well, but what I like to do is get everything together first, give it a quick test flight and make sure I'm happy, and then I'm going to come back and Loctite everything on. On the top, I think I'm only going to Loctite 2 screws on each arm, maybe in a cross configuration, because obviously if you want to do any work inside, you're pretty buggered once you've Loctited it all on. So that's what I think I'm going to do anyway. So thanks for watching. I hope you come back to see the next episode.